So Tuesday, July 13th, the moon is going to be in Leo all morning in the wee hours of the morning, locking into Virgo energy around 5:30 a.m. Now, let me just tell you, anytime we come out of the fiery, passionate, dramatic, playful energy of the Leo moon and jump into the very earthy, very practical energy of Virgo, there is quite a jolt. Okay, we're being brought down to reality on all kinds of different levels. Things are getting hella real. Okay, and especially if you listen to yesterday's energy forecast, you know that we're waking up to give birth here today. Okay, it's going to be a big day. Our lives are never going to be the same again. And so with that being said, the moon in Leo right out of the gate, before even, jumping into that Virgo energy in the wee hours of the night, it's almost like we fell asleep. We got a little bit of nap into us, and then bam, something happens, awakens us. And we make an aspect with Chiron. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer, and he is reminding us of why it is that we're scared, why it is that we're fearful, why it is that we are so attached to our identity. And again, I'm going to use the birthing analogy. Right now, we have a child about to come out of us, and we just recognize that, oh my God, I'm never going to be childless again. I'm never going to have a minute to myself. I'm not going to be able to put myself first. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do that. This is a dramatic energy shift because we're focused on all of the things that we're leaving behind. Does it feel good? No. Is it absolutely necessary? Yes. And we have to almost remind ourselves of all the things that are now going to change in our physical realities. Our identities are changing. Our egos are changing. Why? Because we're giving birth to a brand new chapter, a brand new lifestyle. So then the moon actually locks into Virgo. And now we're earthy. Now we're practical. Now we're dealing with real life. We're not in our head space. We're not in our heart space. We are dealing with real life here. And what is real life? Well, the moon in Virgo is sitting across from Jupiter in a retrograde in Pisces. So if the birthing process, I'm going to continue with this analogy, screw it. I'm taking it all through the week. So prepare yourself for a week of birthing analogies. But the moon in Virgo sitting across from Jupiter, who wants us to grow, wants us to expand, in Piscean energy, which is spiritual, which is leveling up, which is recognizing the chapters are ending in order for new ones to begin. Jupiter is also retrograde, meaning this is an internal transformation. The moon in Virgo sitting across from Jupiter retrograde in Pisces right now is saying, holy shit, I can see the head. The head is crowning. This is real. Shit is getting real. What am I going to do? Oh my goodness. My days are changing. Am I even prepared for this? I don't know. Like, have I nested enough? Do I have everything I need? Am I even prepared for this kind of transformation? And then the moon goes ahead and makes an aspect with Pluto. And Pluto saying, of course you are. Of course you're ready for this. Right? You had 9 months to think about this child coming out. And what? Now you're going to contemplate in the final minute of the final hour that maybe you don't even want to be a parent? I think it's too late for that. You need to cut the head off of that snake and recognize that you will never be the same person that you were before this child ever came into your realm. Because again, we have to remember, I know this is an analogy, but the child in this instance is the new cycle that we're moving into, the new reality, the new relationship, the new job, the new creative project, whatever it is that we are creating, whatever it is that we're giving birth to, this is the child in this analogy. And suddenly we're on the verge of seeing the actual physical manifestation of this newer reality emerging. And now we're questioning whether we're ready. Now we're contemplating how our life is going to change, how our daily habits need to change in order to actually take care of this quote unquote child. Suddenly now we're thinking about our mental health and how maybe we haven't truly absorbed the new perspective that has got to change in order for us to now move forward in this chapter with a child. A little bit too late for that, but Pluto's saying, hey, listen, this is the greatest transformation you're ever going to go through. Yeah, it might be scary that you have to leave your old self behind. Sure, your days are going to change. Yeah, your responsibilities and priorities are going to change. But guess what? This is the next level. You're about to level up into a way that you never thought you could level up into. You are more powerful now, recognizing that you are capable of creating something. You are capable of birthing a brand new reality for yourself. You got this. Don't give your power away. Bring it all in. Look down. You're birthing a child. It's coming out of you. You did this. So Pluto's whole game plan here is to hype us up. Yes, it's scary to move away from the old. Yes, it's scary to transform into the new. Yes, it is absolutely terrifying what is going on to your physical body and your physical reality. But this is the only way that we can advance to the next realm. This is the only way that we can level up to the next level of consciousness, to the next level of advancement in our physical realms. And so the moon in Virgo now is all hyped up. We can do this. I am ready for this. I am ready to be a mom. I'm ready to be a dad, whatever the case may be. And here we are, sextiling Mercury. Okay. So the moon in Virgo, and let me just remind you, Mercury rules over Virgo. It's very analytical, right? So yes, it is an earth sign. Virgo is an earth sign, but it's ruled over by, the mental plane. We want information. We want to make sense of things. We want to have a plan. We want to be practical. We want to be logical. We want to analyze things to death. We want to put things in its place. We want to create order out of chaos, right? And the moon in Virgo is the emotional chaos that we're currently thinking and feeling. And the sextile with Mercury, who is in Cancer, may I remind you, is not only the inner child of our individual selves, but is the mother energy. Cancer energy is the mother. That's why we follow the moon so closely, because the moon takes care of us. The moon is the mother going through all of these different moods, checking in with each of the planets, saying, how can I take care of you? Where are you emotionally? How can I nurture you? How can I make you feel safe? How can I make you feel secure? So Mercury, being in this motherly frame of mind, is now kind of edging on the pep talk that Pluto just had with us, hyping us up, preparing us for this huge transformation that's going to take place. And the moon in Virgo sextiling with Mercury now in Cancer is saying, listen, babe, you got this. You take care of everyone in your realm. This is no different. You're going to be able to figure out what needs to be done, where your attention needs to be, where your energy and your focus needs to be. You're going to be able to figure out how this craziness is going to make sense. You're going to be able to sort things out, but you got to stop picking yourself apart. You got to stop judging yourself so harshly and being so critical on yourself when you're jumping into a brand new role that you have to get used to. You're not going to be perfect right out of the gate. You're going to make mistakes. You're probably going to fail. But the important part is that you're ready for this process, that you're shifting your mental plane now into what it is that you have to do to live up to the roles and responsibilities that you're now creating in your new reality. And you're leaving the disappointment, the pain, the suffering, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. You're leaving that behind. Now, here's where we are about to give birth, okay? Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, worth, finance, future goals, feminine divine energy, sits next to, meets up with her lover, the masculine energy of Mars. Okay, this is beautiful. This is like the first time we hear this child coming out of us scream, taking a breath into its little lungs and screaming, making itself known for the first time in this universe, in this world, in this reality. Suddenly we are looking down at this child coming out of us. We don't feel no pain. We are not feeling confusion. We are feeling absolute euphoria. Why? Because we just gave birth. We just created a brand new reality. For the first time, we feel whole. Why? Because that feminine and masculine energy is unified. This is beautiful. I got goosebumps right now. If you don't have goosebumps listening to me right now, you need to shake your head and rewind and listen to that again. Venus just said, holy shit, we are parents. Mars is like, oh my God, we created this. And together, they are now unified. They are now a team. They are now moving together in the cosmos, recognizing that they are on a brand new path. They're in a brand new chapter. They just brought life to this world. And again, may I remind you, this whole childbirth thing is an analogy. You could be giving birth to a brand new way of operating, a brand new romance, brand new relationship, brand new, career, project, soul mission, whatever the case may be. This is the moment that it actually happens, that it clicks within you and you decide for sure, yep, can't go back now. Definitely moving ahead. Mars couldn't be happier. Now he has a direction he can actually pour his energy into. We're unified. We're feeling complete, in alignment. For the first time in a long time, we finally see the light. Then the moon in Virgo makes this aspect with the sun. And the sun, of course, is in Cancer. The moon in Virgo, again, down to earth, very practical in our physical realms here. We're trying to just take in the experience that we just had. And the sun in Cancer is like, okay, you just gave birth to your heart outside of yourself. Now, yeah, you got to take care of that, but you also got to take care of yourself. You have to balance yourself because, again, may I remind you, emotions are running wild. The sun in Cancer is just like, okay, we got to balance our emotions here. Yes, it's okay to feel everything all at one time and not be able to identify it, but we can't stay in this state. We have to move forward. We have a brand new foundation that we have to build in order to, provide for this quote unquote new child, this new reality, this new chapter, whatever the case may be. But we can't do it if you toss yourself to the side. And I'm going to take this opportunity to speak to the moms, to the dads, to the parents out there. Okay. A lot of people get lost in their children, okay? Y'all have kids and you forget who you are because you become so consumed with trying to keep this little being alive, doing what's best for the child, putting the child first that you forget about yourself. What happens then? Then you're so far down on the list of priorities that you don't even know that you're on the list. You're on autopilot now, just moving through the day, doing what you got to do to keep this thing alive. And then one day you wake up and you're hella angry. You got no spark left in you, no passion left in you. Why? Because you've been a slave driver just doing the physical habits and routines that you need to do to keep this little individual alive. What about you? What do you want? What makes you happy? What passions and desires do you have to fulfill? And most of y'all can't even answer that because you've been so consumed with trying to keep this human being alive. One of the major topics and themes that I address on my one-on-one sessions with parents especially is please implement a boundary in between the two of you so that you know where you end and the child begins, right? Otherwise, you're just creating one cohesive identity. And what happens when that child is old enough that they want their own identity? Well, suddenly you don't know who you are. You're feeling lost. You're feeling in the darkness. You're feeling in the void because you just got left behind. And that is when most of the parents that come and seek my guidance, that's where they start. Is like, damn, my kid grew up, they got their own wants, needs, and desires going on, or they're a teenager, they're getting into a relationship, or they just graduated college and they left the house and now I don't know what to do with myself. Well, that's why it's important to stay in alignment with your heart space. And the sun in this instance, the moon in Virgo and the sun in Cancer in this instance is saying, okay, now you got a life that you just created. You got to love and you got to nurture it, but you got to love and nurture yourself. There are boundaries that need to be put into place here. Now you need to eat, not only because you need to eat and nurture yourself, but that you have to create food for this little being, right? So it's all one circle. So the moon in Virgo goes ahead and makes an aspect with Chiron. Again, may I remind you, Chiron is going to go retrograde here. And so he's trying to just do what he can in his exterior realm before he goes retrograde. And the moon in Virgo, again, hypersensitive, super critical, very judgmental on oneself, is making this aspect with Chiron, who wants to illuminate the ego and identity wounds. So the moon in Virgo, fresh as a quote unquote brand new parent to this new situation they just gave birth to, gave life to, suddenly is picking things apart We are focused too much on, oh my God, who am I now? What label do I give myself now? What career am I in now? What path am I walking now? Who am I to these people now? Right? Our identities are changing. Our labels are changing. Our energy is changing because now we have to pour into a brand new direction. And at that particular time, the moon in Virgo squares crisis point, tension point, the true node, destiny path, and is kind of at a standstill because they're like, okay, wow. Now I'm holding this child, I'm looking down, don't even know how this happened, can't even remember the pain I just went through, don't even know how the hell I'm supposed to move onward. What does my future even look like? How am I going to do this? Basically, what's coming down on us now is what's next? What's the next step? What do I do now? Where do we go from here? Okay, we did the pregnancy thing, we did the birthing thing, well, we did the pushing thing, we did the birthing thing, we did the crowning thing. Now we're holding this child screaming, right? And now we're like, oh, damn, I cannot even imagine how this is going to go. I can't imagine a year from now. I can't imagine even getting into the car. I can't even imagine getting, this child into his own crib, right? And of course, again, I'm speaking in an analogy. This is basically taking the new situation that you just brought to life, and now you're having a hard time seeing how it's going to actually turn into the greater, grander vision that you've been holding on to, that you've been trying to manifest. And then Pluto chimes in. God love Pluto, right? He always brings very harsh love lessons to us. But Pluto chimes in and says, listen, you got to cut the cord with how things are going to be in the future or how things were in the past. And for the love of God, just sit in the moment. Just recognize that you have so much to celebrate in this moment. Recognize the power that you had to embody in order to make this happen. For the love of God, just sit in this moment and praise yourself. And of course, it's going to be hard to do because that moon in Virgo just wants to rip ourselves apart. It is the highly analytical, highly critical, highly judgmental narrative that we put on ourselves, criticizing us for everything that we do, for our environment, for the way that we act, for the way that we think, for the way that we feel. And Pluto is just like, oh my Lord, you just gave birth, right? Stop thinking about tomorrow or 10 years from now or, whatever the case may be or how you even got here. Give yourself a little bit of credit, root and ground your power into this present moment. Celebrate how far you've come. Celebrate what it is that you've accomplished. Celebrate staying present in this moment.